Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Talk Conversation Series, a peer knowledge resource by the CXOs for the CXOs. Now to our host, Kanika Goswami.
Hi, I welcome you to a podcast on stage with enterprise thought leaders. My name is Kanika Goswami and I'm the managing editor of On.media's B2B enterprise technology publications. We have engaging conversations with global thought leaders and industry experts, like the one we are going to have today with Jim Waggoner. He's the vice president of product management at Enable. Hi, Jim. It's great to have you here with us today.
Hi, Kanika. Thank you so much for the invite for this conversation. Really appreciate it.
So I'll give a short introduction about the subject we're going to be discussing, and then Jim, if you could say something about yourself, it would be great.
Of course.
There has been a rapid increase in both the volume of vulnerabilities and resulting attacks. In 2025, an average of 133 common vulnerabilities and exposures were disclosed daily, a reflection of the increasing complexity of modern cyber threats. Vulnerabilities within an endpoint's OS or applications are a common starting point for many exploits. Vulnerability management plays a crucial role in halting exploits, but has historically been a difficult process. So, Jim, as we were saying, would you like to tell us something about yourself and about Enable, of course?
Yes. So Enable, so let's start with Enable. So Enable is a company that is focused, cybersecurity company, we now think of ourselves as cyber resilience, where protecting customers' environments is really an end-to-end from detection, management, backup. So there's a lot of solutions that we have, and our focus now is on the MSPs and their customers, as well as we've moved into the mid-market, the lower side of the mid-market. About myself, I've been in cybersecurity for almost 30 years. I know you say, no, you look so young. But 30 years, I started out my career at a big cybersecurity company, which was Symantec. That was about half my career. I moved into McAfee when it was Intel Security. And then I moved over to focus on protecting customers against unknown threats. So I moved to FireEye. And then FireEye McAfee, fortunate for me, became Trellix. And then because I wanted to focus on MSPs, I moved over to lead up the cybersecurity products division here at Enable just about a little over a year. I hit my year anniversary. And now it's the products and the solutions.
Thanks so much for that. That was my job, but I shoved it over to you. But thank you so much for letting us know. So the first point that we want to discuss is that cyber threats are becoming increasingly more complex. How do CISOs ensure a stronger vulnerability management strategy to stay as safe as possible? And I say as safe as possible because there is no way they can eliminate threats.
No, they can't.
The best they can do, how do they prepare for that?
That's an excellent question. It's funny. You mentioned, try to be as safe as possible and eliminate threats. And that's what I've been doing my entire career, is trying to eliminate threats for my customers, identifying them, understanding them, eliminating them. And over time became, how do we best try to mitigate that risk? You can't prevent threats. So how do you mitigate that risk? And your question is a good one, because it's about what can they use as a strategy. We were at a conference in Berlin just recently for our Empower conference, and what they talked about, in a room full of people, I'm talking about our vulnerability management integration with our solutions. And we asked a question, is vulnerability management a top concern? And of course, a lot of hands raised, and we asked them about strategy. And as we got into a group discussion, the one thing that really was clear was, number one is have a strategy. So it was interesting because they're running businesses and they're looking to be efficient. They're looking to, do they have the right tools? How do they increase their revenues? How do they reduce their costs? And it's a lot for these businesses. And so the recommendations that we were given to this group was just have a strategy. Don't try to boil the ocean. Don't try to start everywhere. Just think about what you need to do. So when it comes to vulnerability management, the idea would be, okay, first assess your environment. Are you vulnerable? Are you at risk? Can you do this yourself? Do you need to hire someone to do it? Do you have the right tools? But start somewhere. And usually what happens is the strategy they would be is like, okay, let's just take a look, ignore everything else, do an assessment, but let's take a look at the the most critical assets in my environment, which are usually your services that run your business or allow you to, incoming money. And then where's your data? So identify where your data is and target those systems and then assess whether they are vulnerable or not and what you can do about them. So I think that's the key thing is you ask about strategy is number one, have one. Document it, write it down, prioritize, recognize you can't do everything, and just focus. And this is what we recommended to our partners as they approach their clients. It's like, don't try to solve everything. Just give them a plan and give them a maturity level model plan where they can improve over time and you can measure that progress. Sorry, was that a little too much? I got a little wordy.
No, it wasn't enough. In fact, I'm going to add to it.
Okay.
When you say strategy, you're talking about tools, platforms, and also awareness, also the policy within the organization. All of that comprises for strategy, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and the people, it's like if you have the people, that's great. If you don't have the people, seek help. Not all of us have spent our careers understanding vulnerabilities, understanding the risk of vulnerabilities, understanding how to patch them, how to make programs, and then, the tools and capabilities that are out there.
So I'd like to know what enable does as help, but after that, I'd also want to hear from you about the skills situation for IT security. One hears a lot about it, both positive and negative. There are question marks, there are exclamation marks. Are we enough? Do we have enough? What is happening? But that's after you tell us what enable does. And
Oh, certainly. So a couple years ago, or in our recent history, we were doing surveys with our advisory boards, and we're asking them, being that our target customers are the MSPs who are managing their clients, and they're leveraging our tools, our UEM tools, Unified Endpoint Management tools, known as N-Central Insight. And that's how they manage remotely and take action and just get visibility, policy management for these endpoints, for the devices, for the servers in the cloud. We asked, what could we do to help them have a more secure environment? Now, at the time, and based on this last survey I did with our partner base at Empower, we were finding out that they were patching applications. They were attempting to patch applications, risky applications. They understood the risk, but they were buying a lot of products. I did a survey of a room of about 100 individuals of our top tier customers, our partners. And I said, how many of you are running a vulnerability management solution today, service for your partners, for your customers? And 3/4 of the room raised their hand, said, we're running it. And then I said, well, okay, what are the applications that you're using for this? And then there was I think 20 different applications that were being used. There was no one single application. And these are partners that are using our Unified Endpoint Management solution, whether N-Central Insight, depending on their scale. And so from that, we said, listen, we have integrated vulnerability management into our platform, or we're in our initial stages of it in early preview. And is this something that you'd be interested in? Would you like an integrated view in a tool that you already have to manage endpoints, to identify applications, manage the applications, and automatically patch the applications? And the answer is absolutely. So that's what we've done. We've integrated it into their common workflow, something that they're already used to today, and offered them, or will be offering this capability when we go GA a little bit later this year.
And when you bring up this topic, it just occurred to me. Do you think one of the challenges that they face is too many tools that are not required?
See, you're going down my path. Hey, that's my line. No, it is. There's a statistic I don't have readily available, but if you look at the way the world works, is there's a problem, you buy a tool, you deploy a tool. It may or may not solve your problem. If it doesn't, you buy another tool, and more problems that come up. So endpoint management, endpoint security, endpoint risk, endpoint vulnerability, patching, just a lot of tools that you end up deploying, lots of solutions from the cloud down to the endpoint, and you get a overrun of resources that really could impact the user experience, the business, but also the cost of lots and lots of tools that need to be deployed, trained on, maintained, and so on. So yes, absolutely. I think that was one of the advantages we talked about. It's like, listen, if we integrate this capability to our existing customer base. We don't charge extra. You could see the dollar signs in their head, in their eyes go across the crowd as they're saying, okay, this is a savings that I'm going to get. I don't have to pay extra. I have reduced budget. Maybe I could buy something else. Maybe I can hire more people, although not required.
Yeah, maybe buy something else, maybe add to the confusion. Maybe not buy anything more, just stick to one tool that you need, which is integrated with vulnerability management as well as endpoint.
That's
So
right.
yeah, so why not? We were going to also discuss about the lack of or forfeit of or surfeit of resources for IT security
Oh, yeah.
as tools are developing. Do you think what is it? So I just need to know your opinion on what do you think is a market situation at this point?
Yeah, it's amazing where I listen to, you have a wide variety of our partners who are managing their customers. And the number one challenge is how do I keep people at my company doing a role that I really, really need that's mission critical for my business and just keep them. And, people come and go. Your teams get larger and smaller. You're always getting new people. So you're always in a pipeline. You're always in a situation where you need a pipeline of people and resources to do the work that we need to get done to protect our customers. But there just isn't enough. There isn't enough of a pipeline. So it's a skills gap, meaning they need to be trained, but it's also a resource gap. It's hard to find them. People that can come in and just have the skills they need in order to accomplish this. It is one thing that I'm seeing with AI is helping significantly for managing environments, for doing automated tasks, for filling in those gaps that people may have when it comes to their skill set.
A little bit about the background technologies at play. Is there automation? Is there machine learning involved in addition to AI? I'm sure AI is a part of this. What kind of technologies are you using there, which
Yeah,
are making it so, effective?
yeah. So what makes this effective is we are using automation. We are using absolutely automation. So today, there's a couple tools that we have here at Enable. When it comes to the vulnerability management and the patching and automated patching, that is part of the discovery, the applications on the endpoint. We upload those into a central cloud repository, and then we use vulnerability management assessment or engines on those to identify the ones that are the most risk. But then we go through automated processes, if it's selected, to patch the ones, the operating system patches as well as the application patches to make it more interesting. Now, AI in that workflow is not there, but where we are leveraging off of AI is in our security operations center. So we have a SOC platform, or what we call the Adlumin XDR platform, where we have lots of AI in detecting attribution of threats as well as remediation and automation of threats. So you combine those two solutions as you patch the threats that are out there, and then we have workflows and AI and tools where we can do the threat landscape and take care of our customers. Now, do I see AI? I think one of the questions you asked is, do I see AI going into vulnerability management? Absolutely. I can see AI as a place is where I mentioned where you need to tag systems, understand the ones that are most critical, come up with a plan or a workflow that would help you assess which ones need to be patched first and even do the automated patching. That's where I see AI going in this.
So we are there. These are the questions I have. Now, you are in the field, you are the technology expert. You think there is something else you would like to, some more insights that you would like to share with probably the CIOs who are a part of our audience as to what should be their best practices when using a tool or a platform like this, or what should be their preparedness for, getting the optimal benefits from this, leveraging it, as they say. Any insights?
Yeah, the thing to watch out for right now is what has us all up at night is ransomware. And I think that's really the key message is to think about. Again, I see the trend changing a few years back. I would ask an audience, a large audience, an enterprise level audience of executives, and I'd say, how many of you have been impacted by ransomware? And you'd get maybe 3 hands out of a room of 500 people. You might get 3 or 4 hands that would raise up and said, yes, I've been impacted by ransomware. In the meanwhile, in the last couple of years, you see more attacks happening. It's becoming mainstream. It moved from consumer to enterprise, now enterprise down to the mid-market SMB. But again, back to Empower in Berlin, I asked the audience, I'm like, okay, how many of you have been impacted by ransomware? And of the audience, half of them raised their hand. Not only have they been impacted, but the question was, have you paid the ransom? And we warn our customers, don't pay the ransom, because once you pay it, they're going to come back and ask for more, and they might not even decrypt your files. And the answer was, 50% of them have paid the ransom. Now, paying the ransom, they had to do what they had to do to ensure business continuity, but it really is about having an end-to-end solution for protecting yourself against ransomware. I mean, number one, you want the tools to identify where your assets are, secure your assets, secure your data, back up your data, make sure that you, at any point in time, you've run through planning. So plan for the worst disaster to happen, and then get yourself the tools that allow you to accomplish that. That is from doing your backups, doing your vulnerability assessments, and patching of not only your most risky applications where you start, but even your assets out there that you may not deem risky could be the entry point for threat actors who then want to compromise the environment. And then if you need a level of security, so protect your environment, assess it, back it up, and then have a response recovery solution in place or services in place that can help you if there's ever been an attack. So I think that's the main takeaway is plan for a ransomware attack. If 50% in the room said that they paid the ransom, then how long is it going to be for everyone else is impacted? And that's where you need a strategy. We're going to be going through a tabletop exercise ourselves as a company, where internally in our executive team, where we're saying, okay, what would happen in our scenario where we have a ransomware attack? What would we do? Let's spend a day as an executive team walking through not only how we're prepared, but what specific actions would we take? Let's document them and then analyze them for the improvements that we could take, so that we can go from potentially losing our business to either ransomware not impacting us or getting the business back up and running in hours, not weeks. So that would be my recommendation for anyone when it comes to keeping that business running, as well as looking as, not only how to save the money, but what would be the impact if you were hit.
Thank you so much, Jim. In very, very informative discussion. I also learned a lot. And you're right, ransomware is, when we started writing about cybersecurity, it was a one-off incident.
It was.
And like you said, obviously 15, 20 years ago, there weren't enough good tools for, ransomware attacks also, any kind of cyber attacks. So as technology develops, it becomes worse for the attacks as well as for the mitigation, right?
It does. It's like a big trend that's happening. So I was in front of a group when ransomware was first hitting, and we're like, oh, it's hitting consumer, and you could see where it was hitting the consumer, and these pop-ups would come, and my father-in-law would call me up, and I'd warn him about clicking on these links. Unfortunately, he was never hit with ransomware, but then it hit the enterprise, and that's where the big money started to come in. And then it started to hit the SMBs because they didn't have as mature security controls.
Right.
And then it became the ransomware as a service. So if we think about AI, how AI is being misused or will be misused, I can see it's making me more efficient as a product manager and a product leader here at Enable, where I need to do routine duties. Imagine if where AI is today, if I'm a threat actor that said something like, you know what, I want to compromise Kanika. She's a press analyst. I know that she likes to be informed about the industry, so craft me a message that looks like it's from her peers, announcing a new IT trend for CIOs. And in that link, I want it to go to this website that looks legit, and you know what? I want it to download an attack for her to read, which will contain this latest threat, whatever it is, and encrypt her files, encrypt her latest write-ups. And using AI, it goes, oh, okay. Yeah, you got it. And it automatically generates this threat for you.
Right.
That's how the threat actors and leveraging AI could happen, if it's not already. And so that would be the danger. And then what else are they going to come up with, making AI seem more like humans? You don't even know if I'm an AI or not, it seems like. I could be an AI answering your questions.
That would be very interesting, but
maybe in the really, the near future, especially seeing some of our vendors and partners when they're talking about where they want to go with AI, how to make them seem more real, how to make them think, be able to answer the questions, take input on the fly, answer questions on the fly. So it's a little bit like the old Max Headroom.
I don't want to go there. It's going to play havoc with my kind of careers. No, I want to speak to people, real human beings, experts at their work, somebody like you. And with that note, I think we can stop this recording. Thank you so much, Jim, for your time.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please do follow us on social media for regular updates and new content.